everyone, my name is Clantis and welcome to my YouTube channel. So without further ado, let's get into this video. Kushubile enkantolo. Zimbinda babagiti. Anyways, guys, so in the North Gauteng High Court regarding the Senzo Meyiwa murder retrial, we are seeing some fireworks really sparking in that court where Steyn ended up losing it. He was losing it with a lawyer that I don't think I want to spend much time on his testimony, because I think it was an antagonizing type of questioning as well as an antagonizing response from Colonel Steyn. Even now and again, the judge will jump in. Basically, I'm not quite sure who he was trying to save, whether he was trying to save Colonel Steyn or he was trying to save the state. Of course, the state itself stood up several times trying to bring back is it Mnisi? Yeah. Sorry, Advocate Mnisi, who was really, I think he was also derailing on purpose. I don't think he did much of a favor to his client. I think he represents accused number 2. And that back and forth with Colonel Steyn, I don't think it did anything. So I don't think that testimony or that line of questioning is worth even talking about. However, Nxumalo came. Nxumalo always has some nice strategies. And I like his line of questioning. His line of questioning was more like casting doubt on Colonel Steyn's testimony, basically including his credibility as an expert, which Mshololo came with the qualifications, which we're going to get there. When I thought that Mshololo coming with Steyn's qualification, I was like, shots fired, because you could tell that Mshololo's line of questioning was to discredit his qualification. There is no way that you are called an expert with a certificate, and you cannot be called an expert if you did not go to an appropriate institution of higher learning, where you are going to spend years and years and years of research and years of projects and assignments and things of that nature, versus a course that you do for 6 weeks and you get a certificate, and now and again you have to go and upgrade it, and now that same program no longer exists in South Africa. So I understood Mshololo's line of thinking, because she was also casting doubt on the expert notion of Colonel Steyn, that you are not an expert. But she did not say it out loud because she did not want to antagonize the judge as well as the state. But the state, of course, could not stand and object to that line of questioning, because at the end of the day, we need to understand who is on the stand and what do they know. What is the expertise say about the things that we want to hear and we want to know about? Again, I am still against this circumstantial evidence, and I think many people are starting to move away from this circumstantial evidence and really wanting the evidence, because evidence is what works in criminal cases. So without further ado, let's get into Nxumalo's line of questioning. The only thing that I'm going to cover is what Colonel Steyn said on a question that Nxumalo posed to him. So the first question that he was asked was about the time he had finished his affidavit. He said he finished his affidavit for the court on the 20th of July 2023. In my mind, I'm thinking, wait a minute, but you've known about this since 2024. At some point, you are going to take the stand and testify. Then he says, no, in 2021, he was requested to put together an affidavit. That affidavit was 300 pages long. And as a result of that, the reason why he had to finish this affidavit was because it was too long and it was going to waste time. But where he shocked me the most was when he said some evidence we needed to cut out for some reason. And in my mind, I'm thinking, what evidence is that? To whom is it going to benefit? Benefit the state or benefit the accused? What is going on about those evidence that were removed from that affidavit? And therefore, to me, this started to discredit his testimony altogether. I didn't care what he was going to say following, but at least I was still interested to hear what he needed to say, because You are saying, and you're admitting before a court that some of the evidence had to be removed for some reason. And then you come and you justify why those evidence needed to be removed because the affidavit was 300 pages long. Yes, we wanted 300 pages long, and it is the court's time. So it will not be wasting anybody's time. We want to know exactly who killed Senzo Meyiwa. And when you are removing evidence, for what? However, I'm very interested to know, in the removed evidence, what was those evidence about? Who did it concern? Did it concern the accused? Did it concern docket number 2? What exactly was it that was removed from that affidavit of Colonel Steyn? Then Nxumalo went into the SMS of the 26th of October 2014, where Longwe sent an SMS to Zandile and he said, "I'm outside." Now, what I found interesting was the fact that Colonel Steyn said that he made an observation and made an opinion that it was not Longwe who shot Senzo Meyiwa. However, Senzo Meyiwa was shot in his presence, meaning in the presence of Longwe. But now let's go back to Zandile Khumalo's testimony, where she said, I think all of us remember this, 2 intruders, one had a gun, and then Togo said the other one had a knife. And then, of course, they are pointing at everybody in the house. And somehow, Longwe manages to garner some strength and manage to get up and push suspect number 1 who was carrying a gun. He staggers backwards. And this is when Longwe finds an opportunity to make a run for it through the kitchen door. Now, how is it possible now that Colonel Steyn is saying that, in his opinion, he believes that Longwe was not the one who shot Senzo Meyiwa. However, Senzo Meyiwa was shot in Longwe's presence. Now, the question is, Mr. Colonel, what are you saying? Are you trying to divert away attention from the fact that the 6 people that were in that house are not to be looked at, but let's focus on the invisible intruders that never existed? Why would you even make an opinion of this nature? I don't understand. Okay, I get that you are testifying in favor of the state, but must you lie as well? Because that was not an observation or an opinion. That is your conviction, because you want to pin the death of Senzo Meyiwa on the 5 men that stand accused of killing him in the dock. And I also find it interesting that Longwe could be in 2 places at the same time. Because we know from Zandile Khumalo's testimony that after Longwe left the house, he was never seen again until he was seen at the hospital where Senzo Meyiwa laid dead. Then it came to Senzo Meyiwa's cell phone. And then if you remember at Zandile Khumalo's chief evidence-in-chief, she said that when they came back from the hospital, they found Senzo Meyiwa's cell phone under the stove. Now, why is Colonel Steyn saying that Senzo Meyiwa's cell phone was pinging nearby the hospital where he lay dead? So that to me was quite interesting. However, when he was questioned about that possibility, that how come the cell phone was in the kitchen, but you are saying that in your investigation, Senzo Meyiwa's cell phone was pinging by the hospital tower. And then he said that it is possible that Senzo Meyiwa had 2 cell phones or 2 cell phone numbers. So the one that they had was the one they confiscated on the night of Senzo Meyiwa's death. By 12 midnight, also cell phones were basically confiscated, or Senzo Meyiwa's cell phone was already in the possession of the police. Then it came to the swim swap. I found that was very interesting what Advocate Nxumalo asked about the person that is allowed to do a swim swap. And then Colonel Steyn said, no, in order for you to do a swim swap, you would need the ID number of the person's cell number that you are swim swapping. And of course, he said that it is clear that the person that did the SIM card swap is somebody that is close to Senzo Meyiwa. And my question was, wait a minute, so that means they had Senzo Meyiwa's ID or driver's license. When the police were collecting evidence, did they collect Senzo Meyiwa's wallet? And did they see his ID book as well as his driver's license? Because I feel like all of that is interesting to collect in order to ascertain who is the person that made the swim swap using Senzo Meyiwa's identity documents. So after the SIM swap was done, two activities that Steyn talked about in his testimony. He said the first one was an SMS that came through, and the second activity was a missed call. However, he could not confirm from whom these activities were coming from, who sent the SMS and who miscalled Senzo Meyiwa's number. Then once again, I started asking about the credibility of this testimony and the credibility of these cell phone records. I've always had a problem with these cell phone records as to what do they mean. What evidence is there that says, okay, A has a cell phone and A said this to cell phone and etc. and so on, and this is the evidence that you are putting on the table, which is accompanied by the records that Colonel Steyn was had investigated, and he was sure that this links with that factually. So I thought the top priority for the police was to find out exactly who is the person that is responsible in the SIM swap of Senzo Meyiwa's cell phone number when he was already cold on that slab at the hospital. Of course, Colonel Steyn said, well, he wouldn't know. So I thought that Mshololo had a very good strategy on that one, and he did not need to go very far with his line of questioning because he already created a massive doubt for the court to believe any credibility in Steyn's testimony when it came to the phone records as to exactly who did what and who said what. Little did I know that Mshololo was gonna come with fire type of questions, because I enjoyed listening to Advocate Mshololo. She was just on point with her line of questioning, which kind of left Colonel Steyn rather mesmerized himself, I think, because he was not answering the questions as per he needs to answer. Most of the answers he would say he cannot confirm that, he cannot testify to that, and then he would try to elaborate, but Mshololo would kind of like kept him in the straight line, like, no, we are talking about you and your experience and your expertise. Leave other people out. The people that sent you this information for you to analyze, they will have their turn in court. I am talking about you and your experience, and answer this. Would this be correct if I said this according to your experience, according to your expertise? I was like, yeah, this is what I want to see. This is what I want to hear. I love Advocate Mshololo. I think I'm very much inspired by her. So it came down to the cell phone number that belonged to accused number 5. This is Mshololo now cross-examining Steyn. And then she started off with accused number 5's cell phone number. The first question was, from which service provider did you get accused number 5's cell phone number from? He said he did not get it from any service provider, which I found rather interesting, because in order for you to do this sort of investigations, would you need a court order, and then you take the court order to the service provider of whatever network you are using in order for them to get into the data as well as the tangibility of those recordings. Colonel Steyn confirmed that the cell phone number of accused number 5 and Kelly Khumalo's cell phone did communicate with each other. When he was asked who called who, he said it was accused number 5 who called Kelly Khumalo. And this is when Advocate Mshololo started delving into Steyn's qualification. And at this point, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, what are we going to hear about Colonel Steyn? Because we understand how the SAPS used to be like. I think in order for you to be a policeman about 40 years ago, you did not need a matric. You did not need any type of qualification. If you had a standard 8, I think that's what they used to call it back then. If you had a standard 8, you were good to go to become a nurse, to become a teacher, and to become a policeman. So I think Advocate Mshololo was trying to delve into that what is your highest academic background? Do you have a matric? Do you have a degree? Do you have a diploma? And then she started zooming in on his expertise as an expert data analyst. And that's when I got shocked that, okay, he is actually not an expert. This guy is just a guy who has some kind of knowledge about data analysis, analogy. And maybe it's not even to that extent that will give us the type of evidence we are looking for, like records, like recording audio. What is the conversation about between Kelly Khumalo and accused number 5? Accused number 5 with accused number 1. Accused number 5 with accused number 2, etc. and so on. I want to hear that. I don't want to hear that the only thing that they can see is that this cell phone contacted this cell phone and it ends there. No. What was the conversation about? The other question that I found very interesting that was asked by Advocate Mshololo was about the ownership of the cell phone. She asked Steyn if accused number 2 cell phone number belongs to accused number 2. Does it also show that accused number 2 is the one that used the cell phone? Now, let's go back to Steyn's testimony. She said when she followed Kelly Khumalo with Senzo Meyiwa in the car, she had 2 cell phones. I'm not quite sure who asked for a cell phone, and she gave Kelly Khumalo, I think it was Kelly Khumalo who wanted a cell phone, and Steyn gave Kelly Khumalo a cell phone. And then moments later, Steyn testified that she received a call from Chico Twala. Basically, Chico Twala was returning a call. Now, this cell phone belongs to Steyn, but Kelly Khumalo was the one that used it to call, I think, Chico Twala. That is the line of thinking and questioning I believe Mshololo was going at. Colonel Steyn confirmed that indeed that is correct, that the cell phone number can belong to a person, but it does not mean that it is the person that made a call to another person. Then it came to the RICA of accused number 5 cell phone number. Now, this also kind of like, I was like, this is what I was waiting for. So he says that accused number 5 cell phone number is not recorded under accused number 5's name, but it is recorded under someone else's name. When he was asked about who is it that is recorded under, he said he could not remember. They also asked him about the address that the cell phone number was recorded under. He could not also remember. But he was trying to say no, he received enough information from the investigating team to say that this cell phone number belonged to accused number 5. And then, of course, Mshololo wanted to know, then how do you know that that number belonged to accused number 5? Because that's what I wanted to know as well. How do you know that the person, that cell number, you are linking it with the accused, that it actually belonged to them when it's not recorded under their number? Why is the person whom is recorded under is on the stand testifying? And it's also going to be interesting to hear from the investigating team when they try to link accused number 5 with the number they're saying that it belonged to him. So at the end of the day, when it came to the record number, Steyn said he could not confirm that the accused number 5's, that number that is linked to him belongs to him because it was not a record under his name. Then Mshololo asked Steyn about the pinging number at the crime scene. She wanted to know if accused number 5 cell phone number pinged at the crime scene or nearby the crime scene. This is when Colonel Steyn said that no, they could not because they were already too late to get information from the cell phone number. So now the question is then, how do you link that cell phone number with accused number 5 and the crime scene? And then Mshololo went further to find out, okay, let's say that Kelly Khumalo and accused number 5 had a conversation. Is there any proof that shows that they conspired or conspired to commission the offense, meaning the killing of Senzo Meyiwa? Of course, Colonel Steyn said no, he cannot prove that. Yeah, he said that they were too late to gather that information from the crime scene, whether accused number 5 cell phone pinged at the crime scene or around the crime scene, and therefore they could not apply for Section 205. Then I was interested to know, what is this Section 205 I keep hearing about? Of course, this is what Google says. It says, under Section 205 of the Criminal Procedure Act, a witness may not be forced to incriminate him or herself unless the state offers the witness transactional immunity. So that is Section 205. If you were wondering, it's about a witness that is should not be forced to incriminate themselves, or if they want to, then there should be some kind of immunity between the state and the accused or the witness, I suppose. Let's say the witness was a suspect, and probably facing a criminal sentence. But because they are going to testify in favor of the state, then the state and that witness are going to basically, I think it's a plea bargain of some sort, that you reduce the years that I'll be convicted for, or I walk free. Advocate Mshololo wanted to know if they could also tell the conversation between accused number 5 and Kelly Khumalo. Steyn confirmed that no, they cannot tell what the conversation was about. When he was asked about the recordings of the conversation, he said no, they cannot get the recording of the conversation. However, the only thing that he can get is the 2 cell phone numbers in communication with each other, whether it's Kelly Khumalo with accused number 2, or Kelly Khumalo with accused number 5, or accused number 5 with accused number 2, etc. and so on. But the recordings, that is what I'm looking for too. What are the recordings that I would say they can be admitted into evidence? And then Advocate Mshololo wanted to know from Colonel Steyn if Kelly Khumalo was a suspect, and Colonel Steyn said no, as far as he knows, Kelly Khumalo is not a suspect in this matter. I also found it very interesting when he explained about the crime scene and somebody's cell phone number. He said that it is possible that somebody's cell phone number, especially an accused person's cell phone number, can ping at the crime scene, and that it is their responsibility to come and testify as to what they were doing there. But he cannot confirm that it is the suspect that actually pulled the trigger. Yes, the number might be there at the crime scene, but he cannot confirm if the suspect whose number was found on the crime scene was the one that pulled the trigger. He also confirmed to the court, this is Colonel Steyn, confirmed to the court that he could not prove that accused number 5, accused number 2, and accused number 3 conspired to kill Senzo Meyiwa. He said the only thing that he could do is to confirm to the court that accused number 5, accused number 2, and accused number 3 communicated on this particular day. But what the conversation was about, no, he cannot. Then Advocate Mshololo wanted to talk about the towers, and of course this irritated Colonel Steyn and said, no, I never said that the towers in Limpopo and Kimberley had anything to do with accused number 5. But Mshololo was like, it's fine, but it's something that she's going to question tomorrow when they resume the trial at the North Gauteng High Court. And of course, the court was adjourned until tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. So of course, I cannot wait to see Advocate Mshololo basically cooking Colonel Steyn, because a lot of people are saying that Colonel Steyn was lying. I think there were some parts where he was lying and being deceitful, but I think there were other parts where when he was like hurtful, he would basically just tell the truth. I think in a way of throwing in the towel, like, okay, we did discuss this, so I don't know with who, and this is the line of answering that I was going to do, but of course these advocates are way too smart, and as a result he started throwing in the towel. If he wasn't throwing in the towel, he was getting irritated, very upset. I think that other what do you call this, advocate before Khumalo, I think his job was just to antagonize Colonel Steyn, so that the other next 2 lawyers will just cook him to pieces. So I thought that was very interesting. So other than that, guys, if you liked the video, give it a like. If you didn't like the video, give it a like. Anyways, do subscribe to my YouTube channel, and don't forget to click the bell notification so that you get notified every time I upload a new video, because of course there will be updates and all that stuff. Until this case comes to an end, I'll be right here. And also, my super thanks are turned on, and I appreciate everybody that's super thanking me. And also, do share this video far and wide. Please leave me a comment down below and let me know, what did you think about today's what do you call this, turn-off event at the North Gauteng High Court. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.